Okay, the uh, the golf sim projector market is has been growing, and the projector market is been very dynamic in the last couple of years. So, Matt, if you go to the next slide, please. So we'll talk a little bit about what's driving the market behind this product, and go click through the rest of the points. Uh, this product is a really entry-level projector of the future for golf sim. Uh, the it's got a number of unique features compared to the entry-level projectors we've normally used to and people usually put in, and we'll talk through those. And then also what makes it different than and what are the advantages and disadvantages. It's not the perfect projector, so it is an entry-level projector. Go ahead and click onto the next bullet point there. And we'll compare it to some of the other projectors that people consider for an entry-level projector. So next slide, please. When we're looking at a entry-level golf sim projector, these are typically for smaller screens. So our high-end LK 4K projector that's 6,000 lumens lasers, they're really designed for sim theaters, 14, 15, 16-foot wide screens, big screens. But a lot of people have smaller screens that they use in their garages. Typically, like the guy you see on the right, a lot of them use lamps, and a lot of them have lenses that, because they are less than $1,000, are normal throw, or I call them classroom lenses. They don't have a lot of zoom, so sometimes they don't fill the screen properly. And my personal thing is that a lot of these images aren't color accurate. So while you can envision a golf course, it's in no way realistic on the screen. So you can see the picture on the right here. We see a lot of people on golf sim forums, and after they put up and use it, they want to improve their experience. And we recently surveyed probably about 400 or 500 people, and they found that about half of them wanted to upgrade their projector after installing their golf sim. So we said, what can we do to improve a golf sim projector where the price point is under $1,000? So go ahead to the next slide, please. So the first thing we had to look at was the fact that a lamp does fantastic whites, but LED does better color. So go ahead and click, Matt, and let's walk through this. The first thing everybody on the call needs to know is that the EU has basically said that there are not going to be any more projector lamps sold at some point in the future. So, and it's a lot sooner than California's prohibition of gasoline cars. This is in 3 or 4 years, I think, that you're not going to be able to buy a projector in Europe with a traditional mercury-based lamp. Next bullet point, please. And partially is because LED has a number of benefits, and the price points between a lamp projector and an LED projector are closing. Now, there's a trade-off between a traditional white lamp and an LED lamp. LED offers you higher color saturation. It doesn't use mercury. We can fit it into a small case size, basically the same type of case that you would put on a lamp projector. But the real benefit, while a lamp might last 3,000 or 4,000 hours, and LED chips that run these things last 30,000 hours. So we're talking decades, not months or years, in the case of an LED projector or a lamp projector. Go to the next slide, please. Now, the confusing part here is how bright a lamp projector is and how bright an LED projector is, and how does this relate to golf simulation. And this is one of the things that LED does very, very well that applies to golf simulation that may not apply if we were all sitting in a conference room and looking at this PowerPoint on a traditional projector. So Matt, go ahead and click the bullet points there. A ANSI Lumen that everybody uses to measure brightness was designed around a traditional lamp projector, because a lamp puts out white light, and the way that you measure ANSI lumens is you measure the white light, right? So the lumens represents the brightness, but LEDs don't have native white color. So actually you have to use the combination of all the colors to be able to use a lamp. So this is different than every lamp-based projector that's been sold over the last 25 years, because you're not starting out with white light and breaking it up into color. In the case of LEDs, you're actually starting with color, and then you're having to combine them to make lamps. So go to the next bullet point there. The net of it, the thing that we really like is that because we're starting off with colored light, we don't have to process it as much. Therefore, it's more efficient and we have better color performance. So the lumens rating on typical LED projectors that are powered by LEDs, are a lot lower than those that are using white. Now, if you're using a lot of white content, like a PowerPoint slide, this is important because you need that lumens to be able to have a nice bright white background like what you're seeing on the screen on a projector. But when you're using applications like golf simulation, or in the case of camping videos or portable home entertainment videos, the color performance is actually more important. So case in point here, the GV30 is a consumer LED powered projector, and it only has 300 lumens, which in most of us, if we've talked about projectors and we've installed projectors, or you're looking at a projector, you know, a typical lamp-based projector for a golf sim is 3,000 lumens. So why would anybody want a projector that's a tenth of the lumen rating? You could probably not even see it, but yet people love these LED projectors because they look brighter than the ANSI Lumens would let on. In fact, I have the Amazon rating that I pulled down last night. You can see that this GV30 is 4.5, and there are thousands of these LED projectors being sold every day on Amazon, on B&H. Everybody buys these things because they're portable and they're functional and they're useful. So we said, can we use this technology for golf sim, use the color performance to really make a great entry-level golf sim? So that's what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to replace the LK935 or LU935. We're trying to create a better entry-level golf sim projector. So go to the next slide here. What we know now that we didn't have 4 or 5 years ago is that virtually every device that we own that has display technology is now color accurate. So, you know, when we had Nokia flip phones and things like this, there were black and white screens. Your first iPhone wasn't that accurate. The iPhones and the Samsungs that you have today are near perfect color. Rec 709 is the industry standard that everybody has to use. If you're a television manufacturer, BenQ makes monitors, so we make sure that every monitor is using the Rec 709 standard. And in the projector space, home theater projectors, ours, Epson's, Optimus, everybody that uses home theater projectors puts a Rec 709 specification on there. But for golf simulation, a lot of these people have been using classroom projectors, which have no color accuracy, and they weren't designed for accurate color. Some of them have more color accuracy than others, but compared to a home theater projector, they fall way short. So what we decided to do is take the LED technology and focus on color accuracy and get it bright enough with color to be able to make it work for entry-level golf sims. So, and of course, those of you who have LK936 or saw it at the PGA show, you can see that the color accuracy of these BenQ high-end projectors is staggering, especially compared to the other ones out there. So we wanted to be able to bring this down to the entry level. So go ahead to the next slide here. So when we look at a great entry-level golf simulator, we had to say, all right, what is going to make this thing a golf simulation projector versus a run-of-the-mill generic under $1,000 projector? So let's go to the key points here. First thing that we're going to talk about is the color accuracy, because when you're playing Augusta National, or you're playing Torrey Pines, or you're playing Pebble Beach, the experience And the immersive experience is the thing that when we asked golf simulation users outside of the data that they got from making a slice or a hook better, they wanted to be immersed in the course. They wanted to feel like they're actually there. So color accuracy is what we need to do that. So you can go to the next bullet point there. And a WXGA resolution enables us to do two things. First off, we can take that color accuracy and we can accurately format it for a smaller square 4x3 screen. And if you happen to have a smaller widescreen enclosure, it works for that as well. And with the DLP technology and the chips that we use, there's virtually no screen door effect. So even though it's lower resolution than our 4K projector that we love, it looks pretty smooth. So this is ideal for an entry level, either a 4x3, a square screen, or a widescreen enclosure that's basically 10 to 12 feet or smaller. Next bullet point. It's 2000 ANSI lumens, and I'll get to that in a minute. So like I said, LED technologies in entry-level projectors don't have the same ANSI lumen ratings for the most part that a lamp-based projector will have, but do have, go ahead to the next piece here, they do have higher color accuracy. In fact, this is more color accurate than our $6,000 LK936 ST short throw projector. It's got fantastic saturation. And this is the main technology transition that we have with solid state light. We don't have to manipulate the white so much, so we can use the red that's in the LED and make it really, really pop on the screen. So when you're looking at a bright azalea at Augusta National, it looks exactly the way it does on TV. So this is what we wanted to deliver in a sub-$1,000 entry-level projector. Go ahead, next slide. Oh yeah, and it zooms. So if you happen to be not good in mounting a projector and you need to adjust it, it works. The other, thinking of mounting here, we decided that we needed to make it as easy to install as our high-end projectors. So a lot of people have said, how far back do I need to mount the projector? So this projector, if you have a 10-foot 4x3 screen, mounts 8 feet 7 inches back. So you can put your hitting area just in front of that, and then use whatever launch monitor you want to have, either above or behind. So it's above and behind the hitting area. Now, if it happens to be your hitting area needs to be a little bit farther back and the projector needs to be a little bit farther back and it's overfilling the screen, we have some correction elements here, both with the zoom and a technology that we call digital shrink, where we manipulate the image on the DLP chip to be able to digitally shrink the image, keeping it really, really good looking without having to distort or do other types of things, so we can shrink the image without distorting it. Again, particularly on a smaller screen, this works really well. And if you compare what we're seeing on our screens here, which we'll show you in a minute, versus the original image of an entry-level projector, this is important. The other thing you'll notice is that we're not throwing shadows. So now a lot of people have never mounted a projector before in their life, and if they're like me, I'm not the best at carpentry. So sometimes the beam is where I want to put the projector is in the wrong place. It's to the left, it's to the right, it's too far forward, too far back. We've put the same corner fit technology that we have in our $5,000, $6,000 projectors into this entry-level projector. So if you happen to have to tilt the projector a little bit, you can simply use the remote and drag the corner to your impact screen, and it'll properly fill the screen. You can use it for 24/7. So if you forget to turn it off, you're not going to void the warranty. I'm not going to name names, but there are a lot of golf simulation people that use golf simulation with projectors that have warranty exclusions on 24/7. These also don't require a filter. So you don't have to climb up a ladder and clean the filter every 3, 4, 5, 6 months to keep the projector from overheating. And one of the cool things is when I was at the PGA show, I saw these putting sims. And there are a lot of guys working on putting sims. And a putting sim requires you to tilt the projector, point it down to the floor, do all kinds of weird things with the projector, and they blend them. And they're doing all kinds of interesting things to be able to create a putting sim. And this projector, you can put any way you want. You don't have to have it flat to the ceiling. You can mount it any way you want, which is kind of a nice thing. Usually you pay extra for that, and in this case, that's included in the price. Okay, let's go to the next slide. This is what we did here is we took a 3,500 lumen classroom projector, and we put it on the wall, and we ran some golf simulation software, and then we hooked up the LW500ST, which percentage-wise has a lot less lumens. And we said, okay, how do they look? And on, I think this is the boulders in Cave Creek. I grew up in Arizona, so this looks like the course. And it captures, the LW captures the Arizona sunset. Seen a lot of these in my life, and that copper sunset is a trademark. If you've ever played golf in Arizona with the dark blue sky, the LW just nails it. So it pulls you into the course. Now, this image on the right isn't bad. In fact, it's way better than a net, and it's clear, it's crisp, it draws you in. But if you think about these projectors, they're about the same cost. Which one do you want to have? You can see when we're taking white light and trying to break it up and put color in, it works. It's a bright image. But when I use color and go into color, it makes it really, really immersive. So now there's a lot of projectors out there. We couldn't compare it to everyone, but it does deliver home theater quality images without having a traditional lamp and without having filters and without having a lot of things. So we're really excited about this for the entry-level projector market with a 10 to 12 foot screen. All right, next slide. One other thing about color that I want to talk about, and for those of you who have had some older classroom projectors that are going on 4, 5, 6 years, so you use them a lot, you may run into this phenomenon. And especially since projectors, particularly the more expensive ones, are used a lot, there's a phenomenon known as yellowing or color fading or color decay or whatever. And what this is when you start using a projector a lot on technologies that are older, and usually you require three imagers, sometimes they turn yellow like this. My friend's got a home theater projector that has 3 chips in it, and when Tom Brady was winning the Super Bowl, his uniform was starting to look like the lower left on this side of the screen, like it had been yellow or something like that. This is a known problem in projectors, and as you get into brighter projectors and solid state technology, it actually becomes more critical because lasers are hotter. Lasers generate a lot more initial light, and they're different than lamps. So we had to re-engineer all of our engines for lasers and LEDs. We don't use the same type of engines for lamps. They're completely different. In fact, it's so big, this problem was so big that Sony, who makes one of our favorite golf simulation projectors that's about 5,000 lumens, their brighter projectors that they were selling to movie theaters, they basically exited the line because they couldn't keep their movie theater projectors from having the same phenomenon. So they just canceled them because they have to replace them. You can't watch a movie on a projector like this because you want your money back. BenQ projectors use DLP technology, and so we're very close to Texas Instruments, and the chip that's in there is engineered in Texas. We have a bunch of DLP employees here at BenQ, so we know the technology quite well, and it's very reliable. So if you go to a Cinemark, it's going to have a DLP projector, maybe a Christie or a Barco or something like that. That chip is designed to run 100,000 hours without ever yellowing. So that's why all of the projectors that are sold in commercial cinemas are DLP, because they don't have this problem. And all of the projectors that you use for your golf sim should also be DLP, because as you use these golf sims 4, 5, 6 years from now, you won't see any of this. So even the entry-level $799 LW500ST has a DLP chip that has 100,000 hours from TI. So we're really excited about this. The other thing, because it's a single chip and you don't have to have 3 of them, Sometimes over time, if you have a 3-chip system, the colors don't match up. So you'll see a little bit of red or blue or green. I saw this on some projectors at the PGA show. This never happens on a DLP chip because there's only one of them. So we give you the reliability, we give you color accuracy, we give you the ability to have a short throw lens on this thing, no filter changes, and great color accuracy. So it's not going to replace the LK936, but it does offer a good alternative than buying a lamp projector in a typical entry-level golf sim. So let's take a wrap up here, Matt, and go to the next slide. So is it the perfect golf simulation projector? No, but it is the first LED powered projector under $1,000. If you have a 4x3 screen or a smaller widescreen, it will generate at 2000 lumens, generate enough light with a color saturation to be able to fill that nicely. And as you can see, it gives you a much different picture than a lamp-based classroom projector that we would typically be selling at that same price point. It uses LED technology. It has a short throw lens versus a regular throw lens. So that image we showed at the beginning that had the shadow of the guy, and you know, when projectors were used in classrooms a lot of brands use a sensor to keep projector lamps from going into people's eyes. So when I saw that picture, it scared me, because if you turn around and look into a projector lens, that's not a good thing. So the short throw lens makes it safer, particularly if you have kids or something like that that are going to be using it. You always want to go with a short throw lens so that nobody can do this. And it's got that filter-free LED engine. So 2 things. A, you don't have to get on a ladder and clean the filter like you do with a typical 3-chip or an LCD projector. And B, that thing is going to last you 30,000 hours. So decades rather than months or years before you have to change the lamp. And I'll just talk about color one last time, because yes, we obsess about color. I probably mentioned that more than any other word, but I like beautiful golf courses and I like beautiful virtual golf courses. And we use the same color team that does, we're the only brand that does Pantone digital signage. So the Pantone guys that say, okay, this is what Tiffany blue is supposed to look like. We're the only brand that's worked with Pantone that says when you see a digital signage and it's Tiffany blue, it's Tiffany blue. L'Oreal hair color uses BenQ monitors when they proof their magazines to go all over the country for Vogue, so it's the right color. And of course, now we've taken that same technology and used it in color accurate golf simulation projectors. And this projector unit is only $799. So it's really a breakthrough in terms of what you can deliver for entry level. You want to make sure that you control the light in this, because you know, if you have sunlight in the room and a lot of light, 2000 lumens isn't enough. But for most entry level golf sims, you have good light control, and 2000 lumens, especially in when you use LED lighting and keep the light off the screen, is going to look phenomenal. So with that, we have a special bonus for those of you guys who've stayed. And if you go ahead and click the next slide, we are going to send you a coupon code for 2 Benjamins off the price. So $7.99 is the retail price. Anyone that gets this coupon code coming to your email box, you can take an instant $200 off this projector. We just got them in stock. We'd love to have everybody try them and get out there. And if you try it, and if you're a reseller and you want to resell it for a discount, you can certainly sell it at a discount and still make some money. And if you're looking for an entry-level golf sim projector, this is probably the best deal you're going to see. At $599, you'd be hard-pressed to find any other projector like that. So, Matt, I think now that's the end of my presentation. And if we can open it up to questions, maybe we can get some feedback.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Bob. We did have a few questions that we got answered on the chat. I don't think we were able to hear anybody, but if you have additional questions, please feel free to put them into the chat and we will get them answered and read them off. Okay, looks like we do have a question that came in. What is the throw ratio?
The throw ratio, I believe, is a 0.7 to 0.8. I'll have to look back on the slide, and I think we've got some product guys also on the call. If you've got the more, it's basically very close to what our LK936 is. So it's really not designed to go in a box in front of the hitting area. It's a little longer throw ratio than that. Yes, thanks. 7.72 to 0.87. So so there is some overlap with the LK936 in terms of where that goes. So but with a 0.72, you can get a little closer to the impact screen since it's going to be a little bit smaller. So above and behind the hitting area is where it's supposed to go.
Awesome, thanks for that, Bob. We've got a few more questions that are coming in. So for a wide screen, such as a 14 by 15 feet screen, would that work?
You'd have to have a dark room and make sure the room is quite dark. So we've gone up to about 12 foot on the widescreen. We've done it up to 14 foot, and if we don't have any ambient light in, and we are just using, in-room lighting and keeping the thing away, you can pull it off. At $7.99, it's compelling because the next step up there is maybe a 4,000 lumen laser with that type of color accuracy, and that's about double the price. So you're right at the edge. 12 feet, we feel pretty comfortable with that. 14 feet, it really will depend on your ambient light situation.
Awesome. And so we had another question that came in that was answered previously. Can it work for a floor mount? And we think that, for a pretty small form factor, it doesn't put out a lot of heat, so it should be ideal for a floor enclosure. Let's see here. Next question is, I have a 2150 ST right now. Would this be an upgrade? The throw ratio of that one is perfect for me, so wondering if this would be similar.
The main difference you would see on this one, the 2150 ST has awesome color. It's a home theater projector. So you would see a little bit of a difference in color, but you'd be maybe hard pressed to see that. I think the 2150 ST is a little bit brighter in terms of overall lumens. So some courses may look brighter than others on your course. So the main advantage of this particular unit is the 2150 ST. You got to replace the lamp. So this would be, think about it as an LED alternative. So you would be trading off the replaceable lamp with the 30,000 hour life, but you'd also be going down a little bit in resolution. Now, depending on how your screen's set up, that may not be that relevant because of if you're having a square screen or something like that. But this is really as a alternative to that type of projector. And a lot of people use BenQ home theater projectors, lamp-based home theater projectors for golf sim. So the shootout that we do are pretty close. It'll depend on what course will look better or not. So that's why the price point is relatively close to our entry-level lamp-based projectors. But the golf sim aspect of this, especially if you're doing a 4x3, the WXGA makes it a little bit easier to format. There's also a unique little screen fill menu that's on there that makes it easier to do the screen fill. But if you've got your setup, I'd probably say if you're going to upgrade your 2150 ST, go for our 4K laser is probably the best one out there, and that's where your next step is going to be, because 4K on a golf sim, especially with the Unicor's working on their new platform, and all of the golf sim manufacturers and software guys are working on improving, either updating their engines or improving them to be able to better replicate on a 4K screen. That's going to be for mid-range and higher. That's where the market's going to go.
Awesome, thanks, Bob. And it looks like that you might have answered this a little bit recommendations for projector placement for golf sims, and is there any launch monitor that works the best?
So I will get in trouble with all of my launch monitor friends if I say which ones work the best because they vary quite a bit. BenQ actually, we bought some and we use them for testing. So we love them. All the ones that we've tried, we've loved. They're different, so that's it's almost as complicated as a projector. But what was the first part of that question, Matt?
The recommendations for projector placement for golf sims.
Yes. Okay, so we have an article on this. If you Google BenQ projector placement, you can see, but there's basically 3 ways that people place them. What seems to be happening now is everybody wants a projector above and behind the hitting area. They just want it away. Now, 2 or 3 years ago, everybody wanted the projector in front of the hitting area, and that requires a shorter throw ratio. And of course, we make those as well in lamp-based projectors. Getting solid state lighting is a little bit harder for that, and but we're working on that. But so you basically, the preferred one is above and behind the hitting area, because then it's very clean looking. It looks like the golf course when you're sitting up there looking at the shot. You're looking at the screen. You're not looking at a bump right in front of the tee box, if you will. The easiest one to install is with a floor mounted enclosure. That's, you just simply run the cables under the mat. That's pretty simple. And then the other alternative is you use a cart. And so our laser projectors, and we can help you with the right ones. Our laser projectors have lens shift and some keystone correction that enable you to put it on a cart and then move the image over to the left, so you can have the cart sitting beside the hitting area, and then manipulate the image around. But 2 or 3 years ago, the floor mounts and the carts were probably the most popular, and we're starting to see that now shift to where people are just taking the extra time and effort and getting a projector mount and putting up above, and then connecting it to their PC that way. So, but those are the 3 most popular ways to do that. I think this particular product is designed best for the mounting it overhead, and then that's where it's probably best at. And then the second best application would be on the floor. This projector does not have lens shift, so it's probably not the best for a cart, but you can use it because the Keystone is relatively advanced. You just don't have as much range placement on where to put the cart in your space. And since a lot of these are small spaces, it gets a little complicated for that. So it can work, but I would say it's ideal for overhead mounting.
Great. Thanks for that explanation, Bob. So this is a great question, since we did test this in-house, and will it work for sim golf and home theater for movies for a widescreen 14 to 15 feet?
So for a sim golf theater, it's I'm just going to tell you, it's a gray area for this one. You may want to think about for a 14-foot screen, you may want to look more towards a laser. There's 2 reasons why it can work for movies, and it can work for gaming, and it can work for television, but you don't want to get it too big, because while the color saturation is good, the overall ANSI lumen brightness, there's a technical term called foot Lamberts. You want to have your eye, if you have more brightness, your pupil will close, but at some point, if you don't have enough brightness, then it doesn't look right. So at 14 feet in a dark room, you could put up a movie and it'll look good. Keep in mind that the resolution on this on a movie would be 720p, not 1080p or not 4K. Most people, when they're looking at a home entertainment area, they want a giant TV. And this is what, up until the $80,000 Sony projector came out with 5,000 lumens and 4K technology. And then when we brought out our LK9 935 and now the 936, there was no option because you really couldn't use a traditional golf sim projector like you see, a 5,000 lumen projector. They were all made for classrooms. I won't mention names, but virtually all of them are designed, if you look on their website, for classrooms. So for the 936, it's designed purpose-built for a simulation theater. And on a 14-foot or 16-foot, but certainly 14-foot, it will fill up the screen and it will look like a giant TV where you can see the sweat on LeBron James' head when he's going to make the layup. You can see all the detail that you would ever want on a television set. WXGA will deliver a good picture, but with this particular projector, it wasn't really designed for a sim theater type of application. It was designed for an entry-level golf sim where you're playing golf and then you're using occasional widescreens on a 10 to 12-foot screen. So 14-foot, technically, yes, you could work it. Would it be bright enough for me? It was in our gray zone. You know, some people said, yeah, I could deal with that. Some people said, no, that's not bright enough. So I would probably, if you're a reseller, just limit yourself to 12 feet on a widescreen and leave it there. But for the square boxes, you know, the enclosures like you see with the flight scope and some of things like that, they've got some bundles. Those are great because they're the right size and very easy and they come out of ways. So light control and screen size would probably be the key factors here. Good question.
Awesome. All right. So then the next question is, how dark does the room have to be?
So we were down in Austin at one of the big golf sim resellers over there, and we ended up not talking about projectors, but talking about golf lighting. And what they found is that, you know, you have to have a certain amount of light for the golf sim launch monitor camera to work, unless it's radar based where you could maybe have it completely in the dark. But most of them use a camera system and track the spin rates and other things like that on the ball. So you have to have a certain amount of light in a room. There's two things you can do. First of all, you want to try to make sure that you don't have sunlight directly coming on the screen or even bouncing around and working on the screen. No projector in the world can compete with sunlight, which is why when you go in a movie theater, it's quite dark, even though these are 100,000 lumen projectors. So with projectors and golf sims, it's sort of like Thai food. You know, how spicy do you want your food? The more light you can eliminate, the better your image is going to look, because no projector can compete with sunlight. So what a lot of the, we have an article on this on the BenQ.com website as well. There's a lot of what we call structured lighting that are using narrow LED lamps that you can light up the hitting area. And if you put them in a way that it's going away from the screen, the more light you can physically keep off the screen, the better your image is going to look. So it's a matter of keeping the light off the screen and away from the screen, and then keeping sunlight out of the room. Those are the two tricks to be able to make your golf sim look fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob. So we are coming to the end of the presentation. It's now 10:45, so to be considerate of everybody's time, we're going to go ahead and end. For those that had additional questions, we will be sure to reach out to you with answers to your emails. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you got some good information, and be on the lookout for that $200 coupon coming to your email box. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody.
How do I end this?